So I want to talk about a concept that I like to call karmic ubiquity, or maybe something like karmic recompense, something like that. And it's the idea that human beings go about our lives living and we have different effects on different things, right? Maybe we are slightly rude to somebody at the grocery store one day, or maybe we kick a dog because maybe they misbehaved, or maybe we shout at a customer service representative because we didn't like the fact that we didn't get a certain deal, or maybe you cut somebody off in traffic because they're going a little bit too slow, or think back to middle school when you didn't like somebody's outfit, so you made fun of them for it. Basically, any negative thing that you have done is kind of stored up in your karma. And I think we tend to think that that karma is stored within this lifetime, right? You do some bad stuff or you do some questionable stuff and it builds up, and then eventually there's some sort of karmic event that balances out some of the bad things that you have done by then torturing you. I don't know if that's how everybody looks at it, but I think that generally speaking, I think when we use words like karma, I think that's part of the general understanding of it, is that if we do something wrong, then something's coming to us at some point. So if that's not how you think of karma, or if I have the idea of karma incorrect, okay, no problem. Just kind of roll with me here. We can call it something else if you want. I don't know, come up with the name Shibuya. But I'm going to continue to use the word karma just for ease of use right now. So as you're moving through life and storing up bits of both good and bad karma, hopefully you just generally are moving towards becoming a better version of yourself because you have an understanding of the concept of karma and you want to have a better effect on the world. You want your echo in the universe to be better. And I think that's great. It's wonderful. It's noble. I think that's the direction we all should be headed in. But the concept of karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense that I created is kind of as follows. You build up some of the bad karma in this lifetime. And then what happens to that karma is it follows through to all other possible lives that you may live. The negative ways that you make people feel in this lifetime will become the lifetime that you have to live next. So you would have to live out the misery and have the experience of the misery that you caused in each life that you caused it in. So basically, you live your life, right? And you go through both good and bad things. As you go through those things, you are causing both good and bad things to happen to other people. This idea is saying that all the bad things that you cause for other people are experiences that you must have through their eyes, through their emotions in a next life of yours. So when you get done living this life, you die. And then you resurrect in their life. And you're experiencing the karmic ubiquity. It's karma that you caused for yourself. You are that other person. But we pop out of the timeline and pop into their body. And you are awake in their body, experiencing what you caused in this lifetime in that person's lifetime. So the ubiquity part of karmic ubiquity means that the karma that you are causing throughout the world, both good and bad, it is you causing that karma for you. It's all the same karma. Their karma is your karma, is somebody else's karma. It's all the exact same karmic body. It is its own plane. It is but one unified soul spread across every living being on this plane. So when you get upset because a coupon wasn't applied properly and it cost you extra money to buy the thing you wanted to buy, and you berate the cash register, you are about to move into that person's life at the end of yours to experience your own terrible behavior. The person that cut you off today, that's actually you cutting yourself off, making yourself feel like shit. The person that you bullied in high school, when you die, you're going to jump from your life right into theirs. And you're going to have to experience the bullying that you perpetrated against that person as that person. You are now the recipient of your own bad karma. Now, the reason that I'm posting this video on a vegan channel is because of the fact that I think karmic ubiquity does not just include humans, but it goes a little bit broader and it includes all conscious beings. That includes chickens, pigs, cows, basically all the farm animals that we eat. It also includes fish or octopuses or any animal that you eat. So while that animal is suffering because you asked for it to suffer because you like the way that it tastes, and one day you will eventually order that animal to eat it, you are storing up bad karma in that animal to then, when you die, one of your next lives will be living as that animal. And you're about to have the entire miserable lived experience that that animal had because of you, because you caused that animal to have that experience. Now, you want to take this concept of karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense and multiply it over the course of every person you've ever hurt, every meal you've ever had, every bad thing you've ever done. Every little bit of negative karma that you store up or cause is going to then become a life that you have to live and experience the torture that you brought to your own self. You just didn't know that that connection existed. You didn't realize that we were all one karmic being, that we were one karmic soul just spread out across all living beings. There are some people out there that are going to have to live thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions, potentially tens of millions of lives of torture that they brought to their own selves. When you're done living the life of one of the chickens that you had killed for your meal, you then get to live the next life of the next chicken that you had killed for your taste buds. Then when you're done living that life, you go on to the next chicken, and thousands of chickens go by, right? You're living all of those lives in the misery and the torture that you caused. Then maybe you move on to pigs and then cows, and you get to be the veal that you had. You get to be that little innocent baby cow sitting inside of that too small cell, standing up and just waiting for any rescue, but it never comes. You're going to get to feel that baby cow being ripped away from you as the mother cow, so you could go back to being a dairy cow and being tortured that way for the rest of your life. Don't forget the human side of this either. You're going to have to live as the people that you've hurt. You're going to have to live as the people that you have bullied. And that's going to be a terrible experience. However, there is a way for you to start cleaning that up. You're kind of stuck and committed to the lives that you've already hurt, to the lives that you've already required in your diet. Those things are just what they are at this point. You're going to have to live maybe a few thousand lives as things that you tortured, and it just is what it is. I don't know, maybe this theory can allow for some sort of forgiveness and repentance that results in salvation or freedom. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if I've gotten that far in the theory yet. I'd like to think that if you turn your karma around, maybe you can start to negate some of the negative things that you've done. Like, if you then choose a vegan meal based on the idea that you don't want to contribute to that animal suffering, maybe it drops one animal off of your future lives of torture that you would have to live. I think that's a nice idea. And I know people say things aren't fair, but if the universe is fair at all, I think that that might even be a reasonable thing to expect. If you're repaying the debt, then why wouldn't it be that you got to get out of jail just a little bit early? Now, I'm not saying that the concept of karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense is a true fact. I don't think that it is, but I do think that it's an interesting way to look at the effect that you have on the world and to regulate yourself better. Because if you're expecting to then live the life of the thing that you're torturing or causing misery for or causing the death of, then that might make you a little bit more conscious about the way that you interact with the world. I think that this concept is highly, highly, highly valid for making big decisions, like where do I land on my lifestyle as far as eating or leather use, or the way that I'll interact with other human beings as I drive on the roads or in relationships, or just the ways that you treat people in general. I think this is a solid lens to look at all of those situations with, because if karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense is a thing, which, I mean, it's kind of scary if it is, but if it is a thing, then, you know, you might have a rough couple 100,000 years to live after this life, maybe even a couple million years. And the idea of that being something that you will owe the universe for is kind of a scary one. And I don't want to be unnecessarily living tortured lives in my future lives, if that's how the universe works. I don't want that to happen to me, because I want to be someone who has a lighter footprint, who has a better echo, who affects the world in more positive ways, not just for humans, but also for animals. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, animals are worth treating better, even more than humans, in some kind of weird way, because humans experience moments like this, right? They get to go out and hike and enjoy life and watch the ecosystem be what it is, and the dragonflies play. And, you know, the dragonflies have been landing next to me, and I don't want them to land on me, but it is really cool that they're around and that I get to experience that, and the breeze and the sunshine and the water and the peace. But food animals literally never get to experience that, ever. At least humans get the chance to have some joy sometimes. They get to listen to a good song that brings them goosebumps, or they get to have a delicious vegan meal that makes them happy, or sitting around a campfire, or going on vacation, or just getting a raise at work, something that brings some sort of joy, having a child, having just any kind of positive experience. Food animals literally never have that. They don't experience love or joy or peace or family building or anything positive ever. And that's because we require that they die for our taste buds, because we can get our nutrition elsewhere. We can get delicious tastes elsewhere. We simply have them murdered because of the fact that we like the way that they taste. And I think that the concept of karmic ubiquity and karmic recompense requires that we look at it more deeply than just, this is delicious. We have to look at it as, what misery am I personally causing? What fear is perpetuated because of me? What torture and torment and misery and fear and death and suffering happen because of my dollar, because of my preferences? I just think it's worth looking at this concept and saying that if I had to live the pain that I caused, if I had to live the fear and the suffering that I was directly responsible for causing in any other living being, then I would make different decisions than the ones that I make now. I think if I were going to sum it up, I would try to sum it up like this. Karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense is essentially forced lived empathy. And I want to try to give people tools to be able to adjust the way that they interact with the world, and again, to have a better echo, to have a better effect on this planet and the living beings on it that we are responsible for, that we have dominion over. I forget who said it, but some famous person from history or antiquity said, you can tell the value of a man by the way he treats his animals. I'll put the actual quote on the screen right now. Go ahead and read through that real quick. And I think we could stand to treat animals a little bit better. Humans too. Very much part of the conversation there. But humans can speak up for themselves and ask to be treated with respect. And they can communicate their emotions. And the ability to verbalize gives them the chance to turn things around, or at least somehow improve their situation. But animals don't have that. They have me. They have other vegans. They have people that care about animals, because while they can mourn and while they can scream and while they can make fearful bellowing sounds and screeching, they can't articulate with actual words how terrible their situation is. Because if they could, they would begin to lobby for themselves and defend themselves. And I think that would help change their situation. The problem is that they can't do that for themselves. So I'm here too. And maybe this message of karmic ubiquity or karmic recompense is the karmic unisoul trying to get a message through to you before it's too late and before you have established 150,000 terrible lifetimes to live ahead of the life that you live now. There are dragonflies like flying around my head right now. It's really cool. All right, that's all for me today. I hope it means something to you, and I hope it affects change, because change is super needed. And remember, do something that makes the world a better place this week. People need you. All right, watch this video next. Check out the merch link down below, and I will see you on the next hike. I'm trying not to move too quickly because there's a dragonfly right there. Let's try to get him on.